Check. Alright, I guess it just, it's not gonna let me have it on the stream there. Well, I can always switch it either way. I don't know this phone. It's embarrassing. So I'm sure by now everybody has heard the news. I think everybody is pretty much in shock. I mean, it was just 6 days ago when, me and Mason Bailey were here and we were talking about next season. He, hadn't planned on running just because he had already had set up a deal with somebody else. Either way, we had live feed come in that we would be back next year, and I'm not holding them accountable. They've already commented and said that they're just as shocked, as all of us. So I don't know, man. I think it's just we're all totally surprised, man, and it hurts. It's like losing a family member for a lot of us because, me personally, I've been going there since literally I was born. I mean, I think my dad won his first race when I was like 1, maybe 2. It was the first time to Victory Lane, and yeah, it's just a sad sight. Shout out to Hollywood. I know he's been around there forever, and it's just a shame, Like I said, it's like losing a family. It's worse, to be honest. I mean, I don't even like half my family members. I mean, shout out, sorry to my family members that are maybe watching, but really, I mean, not only is it our home track, it's so close. I grew up in Brandon Mills, so I mean, it's literally 5 minutes from there. But I don't know. There was just something cool about the type of track that it was. You don't really find them anywhere else. It was flat. It was short. Plenty of stands, and they would pack them oftenly. You could bring in your own coolers. Like some tracks you cannot. Couldn't bring in your own food, but every once in a while people did. But I don't know. I don't even know what to say, really. I mean, I don't even have intentions or many plans to race anymore, but I did have many intentions to take my kids there. So I saw Jennifer Allen commenting about that, and I totally respect that because that's what all of us did growing up. Me, anyway. I mean, granted, my dad raced, so I mean, obviously I was there. But there's a lot of people that I know that didn't even have parents racing that were like, "Oh, I grew up at this track. We used to go here every Friday." And it's a Friday night track too, so it's perfect. You get off work, the kids get out of school. Friday night, you go up there. You still have the whole weekend. Same for the racers. You might have to get off work a little bit early, or you work something out on a Friday or get there late, and that always sucks. I've been there plenty of times, but you usually load up on a Thursday night, which is no big deal. Thursdays suck anyway. You race on a Friday, and then you can unload Friday night if you want to, or Saturday morning. It's not like, racing at a Saturday out-of-town track or even one that's 50 minutes away, because you got to leave out of there at, 10 in the morning, only to race at, 9 at night, only to drive an hour back, and not feel like doing all that. And I feel like I'm just complaining now. Sorry. I'm just salty. I literally really looked forward to going and watching a bunch of races this year. I mean, I wouldn't plan on racing full time if Southside even opened. I could have suspected that it might not have opened for another year. I would have never suspected that they shut the doors. I'm literally setting up right now for the king of Southside Speedway, Chris Dotson. I texted him last week after Saturday's podcast. I need to text him again. I'm going through technical difficulties, and this isn't even a different setup, so I don't even know if this is working. But I'm literally working with him to come on the podcast. I'm nervous even talking about that, but that's a whole different story. But now it's just, it'll change the entire dynamic, and maybe, I don't know, we'll have even more to talk about, I guess. And he's totally off social media. He might not even know about this. Has somebody texted him? I can do that now, actually, but does he know the news? Because he doesn't have a Facebook or an Instagram or anything like that. So, anyway, it's just, I don't know. Like I said, and this is an impromptu episode. I'm literally out here by myself. I just felt like at least needed to come and tell some stories, maybe. I did at least win the last U-Car race that they had, and I guess the last championship. So I even texted that to somebody earlier, like, well, I guess it could be worse, because like I said, I didn't even know if I was going to be racing this year. So I mean, I'm not even mad about the racing part, but I am mad about not being able to go and watch or spot for my brother or crew chief, or I'm not any good at either one of those things, but mostly watch, take my kids there. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? How many of y'all were surprised? There was rumor going around. Everybody knew this, that they were thinking about selling it or closing it down. But then last weekend, when we got, from, intel from some pretty close people, we thought that it was like, okay, it's now a go. But it's not. And like I said, he's just shocked. I'm not placing blame or anything. It's not like it would change anything anyway. I don't know. I'm just salty. But I don't know what's next. I saw Shenandoah already put out, like, we'll take on y'all's rules. It's like, too soon, dude. It's December. Let's get through Christmas, then we can talk about driving over 9 mountains to get cheated out on tires. Sorry. Again, salty, but yeah. Just maybe wait a few more days before you post a sorry to hear Southside's down, but ain't nobody coming out there. Anyway, Dominion guys are probably not happy, because now they got to race Southside guys every year and not just the Corona year, which I guess the Corona year could be next year too, but you know what I'm talking about. I think John Pritt was the only, as far as our class is concerned. I try to talk my, I don't want to cuss. Did I already cuss? I try to talk my trash to the, try to keep it somewhat within my level. I think John Pritt was the only Dominion guy to win this year, so, it's granted, I think it was mostly Southside guys, wasn't it, anyway? But either way, Southside Speedway is now taken over Dominion, and I don't know. That'll be the next question, I guess, for some of these other divisions, these late model guys especially. What do they do? What do the Grand Stock guys do? And it's easy to say just go to Dominion, but let's just say you live an hour south and you travel an hour to get to Southside. Now what? You need 2 hours to Dominion? And this is like, we're talking one of the oldest tracks. And this is 60 years old. I don't know how old your parents are, but that's about how old my parents are. So, I mean, when they were born, this track was racing. kind of, almost. It's a long time. So to be around when it gets shut down, and essentially history is, I had a bunch of ideas. I want to talk about it. I always freeze and everything happens live, but I don't know, man. I'm heartbroken. What do y'all think? I mean, did anybody suspect this at all? I mean, everybody suspected it, but like after last week, I thought it was, I thought it was good to go. At least maybe, wait out another, or do like a half season, or depending on how, all the, quarantine stuff works. But I don't know. I guess, like I said, I do have an awesome guest lined up of Chris Dodson. Can't wait to have him on. I'm trying to work out my technical difficulties. I'm sure he's probably not watching, but just in case he is, or if Scott's watching. I need to get that fixed before I have him on, because that's a big guest. So I don't want to waste his time. And that'll probably be, like I said, a big episode. So I'm excited. I was super excited for it. I guess I'm just as excited for it now. I don't want to not be, but it's just going to be, like I said, it's going to be just a weird vibe, I think. Chris is awesome, though. I mean, I've talked to him once or twice in person and just in passing. Apparently he already knew who I was, so that's pretty cool. I like that. I think is cool. So the fact that he's going to be sitting here, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is groundbreaking. It's just hard. It's weird to be. I was so excited about that, and now it's like this is just kind of. I think this is just maybe just ruined my day, and I'm speaking for most of Chesterfield, other than some of the. What's the word I want to use? Some of the not so nice people in Brander Mill and places like that can hear the track from where they're at, and they make noise complaints. Not that that's what shut it down, but they can go to a different tennis club. That's all I gotta say. That did happen. There was a lot of talk about noise ordinances and stuff like that. It was a big ordeal there for a while. But anyway, yeah, I'm working on some technical difficulties. I'm trying to figure out what camera to use. I might use nobody cares about that. I don't even know why I'm talking about that. This sounds like this isn't even, like I said, this episode is impromptu. I'm tripping over my words. So I'm not even on my right page of notes. And I'm watching to see if anybody's commenting, here I'm glad I just saw this. Maybe I jinxed us a little bit. And Ryan DeForest, shout out to him. Go watch On the Hammer podcast. Go listen. I'm sorry. He's going to get a video version eventually. I was literally just bragging to him because these are the California guys that have a podcast out in California, and we literally just contact back and forth because of that, and I listen to their podcast. So I hadn't even thought about the fact that, wow, these guys are really into racing, mostly dirt, but they're really into NASCAR and stuff. They surely remember the Denny Hamlin short track showdowns. Those don't happen all over the country. Those happen right here. And the first 3 of them, I think, maybe 4, happened at Southside Speedway. So these California guys, they're like my age. They, from all the way over there, knew of this, or at least the one I was talking to. One of them lived in Tennessee or Virginia for a while, so I'm sure he knew about it, but remembers this and remembers streaming it or buying it pay-per-view or however it works. And I mean, I was there live at Southside Speedway, 16, 17 years old. As long as you had a pit license, or a track license if you were a racer, you could get into the pits for regular pit admission. It was $20, $25 maybe. So, granted, I crewed for Troy Carter, somebody tag, Superfly Bruce Lee. I technically crew chief for him or whatever. I changed his tires and stuff. I had no idea what I was doing. But for him in the Grand Stock division before that race, and like I said, I really just used it as an excuse to get in and did help him out a little bit. But I watched that one and the following year. I think I watched all 3 of them. Kyle Busch won 2 of them. I know that. I remember having a flip phone that literally an old flip phone that the pictures it's 7 pixels. You know what I mean? A picture of Kyle Busch in his NOS Energy Lexus, not Toyota, Lexus, late model at Southside Speedway in Victory Lane, standing on his car, standing on his car, in Victory Lane, and I'm on the other side of Victory. I'm like literally, I could almost touch him. And I'm not like big of a fanboy or anything like that. I didn't like try to talk to him all day. I passed him several times. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. But it was just like, now looking back, I wish I still had that picture, even though it's a horrible picture, I'm sure. Like I said, terrible quality at the time. But I wish I had that picture, and just thinking of, if we never even get to go in the track anymore or whatever, if being that, not to mention, like I said, I'm thankful that I won my last race there, then the last U-Car race, I guess, there ever, or mini stock for the California guys. I'm glad that is the case, but man, I really wanted to go back and watch races. Like I said, I literally grew up at this track. My dad raced, essentially, my dad didn't stop racing or really take off until the year that I started racing. I'm the third son, so he raced while both my older brothers were coming up through and racing, and then he finally took off a year. I bought the car from him. He lent me a motor for a season, and then he got back into it too after about a year, 2 years. So then me and him did race each other, and that's another thing. I don't know if I talked about this on another podcast, but a lot of people I hear about it, like on the Hammer podcast, and just I hear it in general, people like really wish that they could race with their brother or their dad or whatever, but they don't race in the same division, or one quits for them one to start. I literally raced, granted this is all shout out to Mark Marshall, Richard Sisko, Hunter and John Waldrop, and Bud Allen, and Alex owned his own car. I literally raced against my father and both my brothers and my cousin, who also races, all in one race, all at once. So that was cool. I've raced my brother, 1,000 times. I've raced my dad for about a full season, so maybe 10 times. Or it was 2 seasons, I think. So 10 or 15 times or something. My oldest brother, it was just that one time. He's in the military, and like I said, shout out to Mark Marshall for letting him drive his car, because he came in off the plane just like, yeah, I'm going to drive a race car, Mark Marshall let him do it, and he did well. He qualified well, especially for how little time he had in the car. But it was fun, and just looking back the pictures, having that memory, I didn't appreciate it, and I, took it for granted. But it's hard not to do that sometimes when things are happening fast, and especially in this crazy time. It's like, I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and they're like, when was that, last year or 2 years ago? Nobody can remember. Everything's going crazy. So it's like, nobody can remember anything. And now, ever since the news today, like, I've had like 20 memories pop into my head. I wish I would have wrote all of them down, but I didn't. I've written a few of them down. I remember a lot of racing stories. I remember the last season of racing that we had there. The battles in the mini stock U-Car, whatever you want to call it, the battles were insane between, all the cars. The top, 6-7 cars were all within, a tenth of each other. The late model field was up to, 15, 20 cars at least per race. It was insane. Yeah, I got some crazy stuff written on here, though, too. This isn't even the right episode. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it sucks. I had a bunch of questions as far as what's Dodson's plans in the future. All this stuff. So I don't know. I gotta re-script my whole script. For when that happens. So if anybody's listening, obviously if you're with Chris Dodson or something, let him know. Haven't forgotten about him. I'm working on getting the bugs out before we do all that. Now this punches us in the face. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna have to rework that one a little bit. We can talk about this for a second, because me and Mason did not. I brought it up for a second, and then we got sidetracked. And after the podcast was over, Mason Bailey was like, man, we should have talked about the Steve and Nasty thing at the Snowflake. I'm like, we did. He's like, no, I don't think we did, because we had talked about it right after we ended the video, too. So this is an hour later. He's like, no, I don't think we did. And I'm like, we did. I brought it up during the podcast. We talked about it, and then we talked about it after. Well, no, we didn't. because it was like right after it happened, and I showed him the video after, I think. Either way, very controversial. Y'all can, y'all can comment in on what you think. I'd be interested. I wish I knew how to start a poll live on Facebook, but I'm not necessarily support, and I did hear one claim that, Stephen Nasty was kind of hiding behind Bubba Pollard, and didn't try to even pass him for, the last couple laps because knew that he'd either be passed back or, that then you start that whole game. However, this, it's not the first person to do that at the same time. So I don't know. I feel like if we disqualify that, we got to go start rewriting history on all the races between Earnhardt. It's not a good part of racing, and I don't agree with it. But it's not a part of F1. It's not a part of all these other forms of racing, but it is a part of NASCAR. And it's unfortunate, but it's always been that way, and it's always been settled by the drivers. I mean, I remember seeing a video of Rusty Wallace going over to Dale Earnhardt, and he was heated, and they were like doing a merch line together or something. And I mean, he about socked him. Trying to keep it clean. Socked him. It reminds me of sock and boppers. Anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about. I haven't even drank it at all. I haven't drinking really that much at all tonight because I got off late. And I've just been wrecked by this news today. Because literally after last Saturday, I was just like, walking around in glee, like, oh, next year I'll be able to go to a few, even if, they're late or socially distanced, or maybe they'll do one like a couple tracks did, like on live, or like they'll stream it and you have to pay for it. I would pay literally $30 for a Southside Speedway race. This is easy to say after they close down. But even if they would have had one this year, like a big snowball derby type race, I'd have paid at least $30 or $50 or $40 to be able to watch that from home and not have to fill up the bleachers, none of that. I just want to watch all divisions and everything. Let me see if I got anything else on my notes too, but I think that like I said, it's so close to home, like in our hearts, and figuratively and literally, I guess. That I wasn't even trying to go that route, but it just hits close to home, I guess, because we didn't expect it to close down entirely, and we've kind of been through this before. I think it was 2010 when they shut down. They tried to get NASCAR license, or they did, or they didn't. I can't remember what happened. I knew half the year, nothing happened. So, we had been through this before, but I don't know. Maybe I was just younger and not as sentimental to the idea of it, and maybe it just wasn't finalized, so it didn't really hit. As opposed to this was just laid on my, doorstep this morning or this afternoon or whatever it was. And like I said, I literally grew up there, so it's like now it's crazy to think like I don't know. The whole thing is crazy. I don't want to go to Dominion. Don't even get me started. I'm trying to laugh about it, man. I'm trying to laugh about it. I really don't even know. I haven't even broke the news to my daughter. She's going to be literally infuriated, bro. I don't even know who I'm talking to or calling bro. If there's any lady listeners, sis. She's going to be really upset, and she's young enough to where she, won't, I think she'll forget, within a year or so, but I mean, my son's only 6 months old. He'll literally never have a single memory of the place, depending on how long it sticks around. At least maybe, if he's old enough to have a memory, I can still get in there and drive around a lap or something. Like in a truck, not a race car. So yeah, I literally had excited, oh, now that I got two kids, if he's not old enough to go, I'll just, daddy-daughter night, take Amelia out there. She'll have a blast. She wants to leave, we can, no pressure. Whatever. Even if we stay up for all the races, I don't have any race cars to load back up. I'll just walk out the front gate and hop in my truck and we'll leave. I was looking forward to it. And that's another thing too, is I've only taken off since I was old enough to race at Southside Speedway, literally. 16 years old, back in the day. Now you can be like, doesn't matter. In the womb, they'll let you race. 16 was the age back in the day. So as soon as I turned 16, I started racing. I raced pretty much full-time every season up until 2014. 2014, my brother was going for a championship, and I actually was serious about it, even though we didn't have radios for me to even be a spotter. He probably didn't need me there. But we were really serious about going after this championship, and I kind of felt obligated. It was before I had kids anyway, so what difference does it make? And that was the only season I took off, but I was in the pits for every race. And not only that, but our version of spotting, we did have spotters. It was me flailing my arms, while he was out on the track, and he would have to glance out and see it. It worked a little bit. That's the way you have to do it. I think the dirt guys aren't allowed to have spotters. Is that true? I can't read my comments. I need to get back on the feed. Also, my headphones are dropping out because my cord is from literally when I was, again, 16. But, yeah, it's just crazy. ...2011. It was when somebody, Sue had gotten sick. Nasty as a punk. Jennifer and Bud Allen, I thought y'all were Nasty fans. And this is another thing about Stephen Nasty, racing deal. Bubba should have handled it, not race control. I agree, Mason Bailey. I mean, that's the way it's always been, usually. I referenced Kyle Larson back in the day versus C.E. Falk at the Daytona Battle of the Beaches, or what was it called? I mean, he dumped him bad. Really bad. For $10,000 to win or something, and he already had an Xfinity ride, and C.E. Falk was trying to get his name out there, and it was not good. But they didn't stop anything then. They didn't stop Dale Earnhardt Sr. back in the day. They don't stop Kyle Busch, and he's not as bad as everybody thinks. But here's the thing, and I've seen a lot of rumors about this. But yeah, I thought y'all were Nasty fans, Allens. I know that y'all are big Bubba Pollard fans, but I thought y'all were also Nasty fans, which maybe y'all were, and now here's where we draw a stake in line, or a stake in a line in the dirt. What am I talking about? Anyway, I think that, race control shouldn't have any, like I said, that's for other sports. In NASCAR, this kind of stuff, unfortunately does happen. When Kyle Larson did it, that was... And he didn't even hardly apologize. And that was crazy. I mean, I've had to do it before. I went to Shenandoah because they had a big money payout. And we didn't have any money at the time. Or no. We didn't have any money that week or that month. And we had to pay the babysitter. There was all kinds of stuff we had to pay for. And there was a big money race. So we went down there. Long story short, we don't need to get into the details, but long story short, I'm getting beat, straight up. Fairly. Well, driving wise, yeah. And I have the opportunity to win the race on the last lap. And like I said, the only reason I went there was for the money. Did Nasty do it for the same reasons? I don't know. It's just the thing about Nasty, too, is everybody's wanting to say they did it to him because he's the bad boy. And I kind of believe that. That's another thing, too, is when you're in that position and you're already painted as the bad guy in the first place, and I'm not projecting this on myself, when you're already in that position in second place and you have the opportunity to take the race win on the final turn of the final lap, people already don't like you. Why not give them more reason not to like you at that point? That's the way I see it. You're already the bad guy. There's no second place finishes. There's not enough of them for them to start forgiving you. You know what I mean? He was the bad guy when he rented a pit crew, and they pretty much ruined his night. And he came back in the pits and cussed them all out. And I can't really remember exactly what happened, but it was big. But he didn't. Everybody's like, man, talking to your team like this. It was his team, but it was his rented. He rented a pit crew for that weekend. And I'm not even trying to, he's a dick. But so is Kyle Busch, and I'm a Kyle Busch fan. But I'm not necessarily a Stephen Nasse fan. But I understand that move, and I understand the fact that Bubba Pollard could have probably saved it, in my opinion, and in a lot of Bubba Pollard's fans' opinions. Bubba Pollard could have saved that. So why would it... If Bubba Pollard would have just saved it, would anybody be mad at Stephen Nasse? You know what I mean? And this, now that you put this situation on and you make this happen, anytime a guy gets bumped for the lead, he's just going to just roast the gas pedal and just spin out. Or even anytime that he gets... let's just say he gets knocked up the track a little bit, kind of like he did. He gets knocked up the track a little bit, and he doesn't want that guy to win out of spite. He could just loop it round. Not for that guy. It's like, well, hold on now. We're not allowed to touch anything at all? What's going on here? Why don't you let these guys talk it out or touch each other after the race? And I'm not for fighting in the pits. I don't really like trying to condone that. Because I've been in these types of situations. That one didn't really end too well, the one that I was in. But I've been in ones where I tried to wreck the guy out of the way and I wasn't successful. And I walked straight up to him, and he was mad at me, even though he won the race. But I walked straight up to him, and we didn't talk it out. He was still pissed, and I walked away. But he didn't punch me in the face or anything crazy. And if he did, he wouldn't have done that. That's insane. If I would have suspected that, I probably would have walked. I don't know. I don't think that this is the answer. I know that now I'm just a babbling idiot, but I don't think that this is the answer because, like I said, you're gonna have to rewrite history. I've got 2 Dale Earnhardt documentaries I'm gonna have to burn now. Like, what are we doing? Dale Earnhardt did this stuff because he literally had to pay the bills, like my example earlier. So, just because Stephen Nasse doesn't have to pay it, last time I checked, neither one of these guys have a full-time ride in Xfinity or truck or anything like that. And the last time I checked, judging by Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs, they don't care if you're a bad boy or a good boy. That sounds weird, me saying it now. You know what I'm getting at. Whether you wear the black hat or the white one. That sounds racist now, huh? You know what I'm saying. Joe Gibbs is like the most straight-edge owner in the sport, and he's got Kyle Busch, who has done tons of things that are not, up to par. So, and bad publicity is still publicity. Everybody knows that. Doesn't matter, good, bad, clout. It's all for the sponsors and for the team, kind of a plus. Just kind of like the media. It's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's a good thing, but it's the way it is. And there's a reason why we're talking about Stephen Nasse right now. It's not only just because he's fast. It's because he's controversial, talented, and cusses out his hired pit crew people and stuff. I mean, he's a wild guy. He's a wild man. He's good for stories. I don't race anymore. I'm just a story guy now. I do that. I'm the media. I'm the news. So, all hail to Stephen Nasse. I don't know. I'm not even a fan of him. I like Bubba Pollard too. I'm just saying I don't think that they should have gotten involved, and I don't think that they should have even let him go to victory lane. If that decision was to be made, what's he doing in victory lane? Did you make the decision later on? That doesn't make any sense. You saw what happened in the last lap. Race, why do you let him go to victory lane, celebrate, and get all the pictures if you knew as soon as the move happened that wasn't allowed, and or was it just a decision? Because if it's just a decision, it sounds like I said, if he would have been a good guy doing it, everything, the shoe would have been on the other foot, which I don't agree with at all. I hate racetrack politics and all that. This is hard. Have I cussed yet? All that stuff, all that bad, treat this guy this way. This is partly what happened at Shenandoah. And this is why I talk crap about their tire shed. You can literally ask them, how many tires are in the shed? None. None for me or none for everybody? None for everybody. Well, you get there and everybody's got new tires, for example, or just a certain person, and stuff like that happens at certain tracks. I'm not okay with that. And I'm not okay with, just because the director of the Snowflake Derby wants to be a snowflake, pun intended. He's like, oh, Nassie's, he's not nice enough. He stole. Okay. And I don't like the whole, like, oh, well, if you're Bubba Pollard, you should have been farther away. Yeah, that's real easy to say. Like, dude, what about the examples when there's, like, a green-white checkered? It's pretty hard to get far away in 2 laps. So that argument could have worked for this, but it's not going to work in future arguments. So I'm just saying, if you're gonna, if you're gonna stand by Bubba Pollard, you better be willing to stand by all of the future. Say if I don't know, Matt Kenseth has a good run one night and bumps Joey Logano out of the way, and Joey Logano spins himself out. Do you really think they're going to take the race away from Matt Kenseth? And if they don't, you better wish that they would have and support that, because it's just, in my opinion, a little wishy-washy. Like I said, I don't know Stephen Nasse, and to be honest, in bad taste, I didn't really like the fact that he cussed out his team. Once I found out it was a hired team and he hired them to do that job, and then they pretty much ruined his night, which was God only knows how many thousands of dollars, plus the $1,000 he spent on them, all gone to waste. I could kind of understand a little bit. But I didn't support it. And I just know that, he's the controversial guy. But that's why we're paying attention to him a little bit, isn't it? You really think, he's got good finishes and he's fast, but I don't think he'd be on the press lines like this if it wasn't for his past and his reputation. But that's all I've got to say about that. We'll see what Dodson thinks about that, too, when we have him in. I'm thinking maybe right after Christmas. Next weekend I've already got some stuff going on, and I got to work. Tomorrow night, I need to talk to him about it. We might have somebody on tomorrow night to test out a new way of doing the show. Still on Facebook for now. That's another thing is I think I need to go over to YouTube and start doing everything from YouTube, and then I can just upload links. I don't know. I know that y'all are probably going to be mad about that. So tell me what you think about that. But I think I would have more success, and I could eventually boost the numbers better. And I don't know. That's probably another thing too, is I'm just talking out of my butt. How to clean, like, people that do stand-up comedy that don't cuss. How do they do that? Oh my gosh, I wouldn't last 2 minutes. But yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about is anybody going to Shenandoah? Who's going to Dominion? Who's going to Langley? Langley, I think, would probably be the place to go. It's flat. I'd say it's got a lot bigger of a following than Dominion. Dominion's got a big following, and it's the fastest 410s track in the world or something, I think. I'm so thirsty. It's the problem when it's just me in the house. I just get to flapping my jaws. I don't get any refreshment, and I don't know, I got to carry the whole thing. I don't mind, though. I just felt like I needed to at least, I don't know, maybe say goodbye with y'all. Because there's also all these people like, well, maybe somebody will buy it. Maybe Denny Hamlin will buy it. Apparently there's a clause that if it's sold, it can no longer be a racetrack. It cannot turn into another racetrack. It cannot be renamed. So I don't see that being any part of the future. And I really want it to be. I was complaining today that, it's a shame what pride, I'm sure that's something to do with pride. Like, we don't want this track to ever be a failure under, our family name or something like that. I think it could do really well. And I think that, obviously no track can do that well right now. So, I do sympathize with them, but I think with, if they did pass it on, or, obviously sell it and let, somebody not, it doesn't have to be Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin doesn't have time to run a track. It doesn't have to be them. It doesn't have to be any of the guys running Dominion either. But somebody could at least take it over. At least rename it. Maybe repave it. That way it's not the same surface. I don't know. Replace the walls. That way they're not the traditional boilerplate. I mean, we are kind of ruining the whole thing here, but it'd still be the same track and the same template. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's so important because there's no other track around here that's flat and short, bull ring, that tight of racing. You can see the whole track. They don't allow tractor trailers on the infield to where you can see the backstretch in the whole place. I had to park out in the gravel and like rub the back of my head and like big rocks when I was doing stuff. That was fun. I miss it already. But like I said, let me know. I haven't gotten a single comment. Where are y'all going? Is anybody going to Dominion? Is anybody going to Shenandoah? I know that it's still kind of early, so maybe nobody knows. I know that Mason, I think, already had plans to go to Dominion. He already had a full-time sponsorship and ride. I think he's his own ride. I can't remember. Mason Bailey's a boss, dude. He's got his own, like, houses and modifieds, and he had a modified when he was, like, 15. It was like his. It's insane. Like a winning modified. And then he won in it. Crazy. Watched last episode. I think the last two of them have been pretty good. Probably because they had a guest on them. And it wasn't just me talking all night. But thanks again to Mason Bailey and Austin Dodge. And Chapman. Sorry to him for having the bad audio. Hopefully the audio is good now. I haven't even asked. I'm planning on having Chapman back on. Apparently he's got a present for me. Better be good. And he doesn't want to do the hot sauce again, but I got a plan for him. And Ryan, the producer, might be coming back. He's got some, like, he doesn't have the Pocky chip, but he's got some Pocky chips. He's like, they'll be hot if you slather that sauce all over them. I'm like, well, yeah. Milk will be hot if I slather that sauce all over it. Like, what do we... But no, shout out to Ryan. He might be making a comeback. He's been busy. He got promoted, so he's been working and stuff. So shout out to him. Not promoted at his real job, not here. I pay him well, but he lives a lavish lifestyle. He still has to have other jobs. This one doesn't quite pay all of his bills and his Maserati. That's a question. Some of these are, like I said, my notes are so mixed up because they're not. Well, I have this excuse even when I'm doing a real episode, so I'm not even. I'll just hold my BS. If anybody knows a sponsor trying to sponsor the show, that'd be great. I am really looking for some, dude. The show is starting to grow a little bit, and it's like as the show grows, that like all my technology like starts to, like it's crumbling as it's growing. Like we can still do it. It's just it makes it tough. So I'm working on some of the technology, trying to figure out the technology. It's such a broad thing. I feel like I'm in like 1993 talking about like the first computer, the internets, working on the internets, the technology. I'm going to try a new setup tomorrow night. I should have a guest. Maybe. I haven't talked to them about it. Like totally like hoping they'll come. I haven't even talked to them. Which is another bad problem. Scheduling guests is the hardest thing. That's the good thing about the On the Hammer guys. There's 4 guys, and they know what's up. They're scheduled together. Granted, they don't do it like late at night like this, so they do it on like a Sunday. But another thing, here's another thing I wanted to complain about. Y'all know me. I thought about it the other day. I'm like, the entirety of what's making this such a process, making everything so hard, is the video aspect, the video quality on top of that. If I just they do an audio only podcast. If I were to do an audio-only podcast, I could do that off this computer, this laptop, with easy. It doesn't even matter. I could do it without internet. You don't even have to have internet. I could do it in the desert with a generator. You know what I'm saying? It takes nothing. Not like, sorry guys, I'm not trying to like downplay on what y'all are doing. They have great content. They do good long episodes, and there's no break. Like there's no, it's good. Trust me. Just go watch it. Listen. My only issue is now everybody's used to the video. And nobody's even used to the live thing. There's another thing, too, is the whole live aspect with the internet breaking up. And I'll try to keep this short with the complaining, I know. I'm just trying to vent to y'all a little bit and make y'all understand, like, if we do end up going pre-recorded to where it's not live, these are some of the reasons why. Because even when Mason Bailey was here, you know, it broke up for 20 seconds and then 10, you know, it's just like, it's not that bad when you watch the YouTube because it just kind of skips. You're like, wait, what happened there? But when you're watching the Facebook and it drops out and you're like, what's going on? You know, and you're expected to sit there and wait 20, 30 seconds for my stuff to come back up working for you to continue watching. That ain't it. That's not the move. So hopefully it's been working all night tonight. Like I said, I am by myself, so I literally can't see other than what's taking 10 seconds to delay to my phone. But that's also another issue, because I thought we were good because I would do it one night and it would work, no issues at all. And then I have a big-time guest, or even just any guest. All of them are big-time. All my guests are big-time. But then I'd have any guest. When I didn't do a solo episode, the one night that it would start messing up is when I had a guest. Like I said, I can't have that happen when Chris Dodson's over here. But we're working on it. That's all we can do is just keep on working on it. Well, and buy stuff if we have sponsors. So we're back to me complaining, and now we're back to me begging for money. So either way, it would be nice. I don't really have just message me if you want some pricing. I'm not going to go through a whole spiel now, because I don't really have one. But I got some numbers I think that are reasonable. And hopefully you do too. I don't know. We'll check the view count. We'll see. We'll check the view count, check the numbers. You know, I'll put in my, you know, calculations, equation. What's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't matter. Haven't been in math class in like forever. I guess we'll fade it back out. I'm not doing any hot sauce tonight, obviously. Anyway, that would be a psychopath move if I eat hot sauce out here by myself. I'm already out here in my garage talking to myself. It's already crazy enough. Yeah, and Southside's closed. I'm just gonna end this so I can cry myself to sleep. If my phone, I don't know, this is just the podcast phone. It's like, it's not a bad phone. It's a great phone, but I don't know how to work it that well. And what I don't want is for it to play that crazy song from earlier. Or this ad. See, these are the struggles here. I know of some equipment that could really tighten this whole thing up. So we got ads. Shit. Such a nightmare. But yeah. We love and miss you, Southside Speedway. It was for me, a lifetime of memories thus far, literally. I don't even know what to say. I hope it doesn't turn into something like, I guess it doesn't matter anyway. I don't want it to turn into like a casino. Maybe that'd be cool. I don't know. I'm not a big gambler. Other than back when I raced and I put all my money into racing. Until shout out Bud Allen and my brother put me in their cars. And Bo Tuck and Scott Willingham one time, but mostly Bud Allen and Alex. Mostly Bud Allen though. So shout out to him. And yeah. Hopefully somebody will buy it. Keep the track open. It's not going to happen, guys. Unfortunately. So, yeah. Hopefully, Dominion will host some good races. Hopefully somebody will buy that piece of land right across the street, and they'll put a track exactly like it right there. That's the only thing I can hope for at this point. But, yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's been a good one. Still look forward to the Chris Dodson podcast. I will obviously announce when it's actually going to happen. The live date. Hopefully it'll be live, but if it's not, it'll be pre-recorded, and I know y'all will still watch that one, no doubt. It's ones like that one, I don't worry about it being pre-recorded. Nothing like everybody's going to tune in for that. He's like a methodical creature on the social media. He doesn't have anything like Facebook or Instagram. I'm excited for that. I'm a little depressed right now, today. But I think, all in all, I'm still excited for that interview, and I've got a lot of questions for him. And shout out to On the Hammer. Shout out to the Cali Boys. Shout out to... I've got one more podcast I need to shout out really quick. Vinny Pasquantino plays for the Kansas City Royals, kind of, right now, because of COVID. Maybe it's kind of, pending, but... it's a baseball podcast. It's called, I'll have it for you next episode. I wasn't prepared for that at all. I'll have it for you tomorrow night. I'll give a proper plug. Sorry to, hopefully he's not saying this. Jesus. Thank you all again for tuning on. And shout out Southside Speedway. Great memories, great times. And peace out.